over the internet this week. Just wondering how much truth there may be to it, and also your thoughts. Matt, Brock Lesnar, Kevin Owens, we've spoke about that match many a times on paper.
Yeah, it's not the first time it's come about, is it? This kind of supposed matchup.
No, the one thing I will say is both of them have at least wrestled. They wrestled on a house show in Hawaii. They've done the match, so we know they've worked together. Normally, if on house shows, if that happens on a house show, it normally will end up being on the main TV if it goes down well. From what I understand, it went down well. I have heard of that rumour. I've got to say I'd much rather see Brock versus Owens than Brock versus Shane. For all intensive purposes. However, I don't know how they book that, Matt, because does that mean Brock would be the face? I don't know where you'd go with that, but obviously if they want to make Owens the heel, I'm guessing that's the way they would go. But this does bring me to my dilemma with Kevin Owens. Is he just holding that title up until the WrestleMania season and then he's going to drop it? You know, is that what we're waiting for? What's your views on that idea, Matt?
I have to say, I'd be inclined in your way of thinking as well, because I can't really imagine too many feuds involving Kevin Owens with someone else that's going to captivate the audience that much. I mean, maybe they might have been going that route with Finn Balor, but without Finn Balor there now, you know, it's hard to ignite a brand new feud. And we said a little earlier on, you know, it's quite fresh in our minds, the Sami Zayn feud that they had. Do we really want to see them going to the next level and fighting over the heavyweight title for it? Or would we all be rather wanting to spend our money seeing Brock Lesnar fight for the heavyweight title against another big name?
Yeah, I have this sneaky feeling that timing and everything, that by the time it gets to the Rumble, Finn Balor will be in the sort of time zone of a comeback, and I wonder if it will be Kevin Owens that he looks towards going into that. As a match at WrestleMania, I don't know. It's just a feeling, a gut feeling I have. A program they could possibly run, so Owens is still doing something. But yeah, it would be unfortunate, because unless they do, like, if Owens was going over clean now, that match Owens versus Lesnar would be huge. But the way they're going with it, it's like Owens would have to have Jericho out there. But that would be interesting, Matt. After what happened earlier in the year, Chris Jericho getting involved in that match would make the match slightly more interesting from our point of view. The ones that obviously read about all these things, there would be probably a little bit more interest then.
Yeah.
Especially between Heyman and Jericho, perhaps on the mic.
That would definitely be an interesting combination there. I mean, some people have been waiting years for that.
Yeah. So that would be interesting to see. So thank you for your question there, Dallas. Next question is X2K, often one of our regular ones as well. What do we got? Oh, why did WWE not air Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton on TV? And also, why on earth wasn't it on either of these pay-per-views? This by far is the biggest drawing match. I don't understand. So, Matt, this match happened in Chicago on a house show. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Brock, as far as I'm aware, went over very clean, pretty much. There was a chair involved. But nonetheless, he got the victory. Kind of what I probably would have expected. I don't know if I should expect Randy to get a match back, but knowing Brock's schedule, he's not now going to be back till next year, as what I'm hearing. So I didn't see him going out with a lose. I thought that would make no sense after what they've done at SummerSlam. But are you surprised they didn't have this match at either one of these pay-per-views? I guess in some respects they could have had two matches out of it. They could have had it on both shows, as they're sort of exclusive to each brand. But were you surprised about that? And I mean, the thing for me, Matt, I'm not bothered that it was on a house show. That you see that type of thing all the time. But what surprised me was that they talked about it on TV, so they got people interested in it. Yet you couldn't see it. It was almost like dangling it out there. So were you surprised they didn't run with that match on one of these pay-per-views?
I kind of wasn't, because probably in more ways than one, it was kind of damaging to Randy Orton, you know. Probably the first time was quite physically, but the second time to lose would be kind of like damaging to his character, you know. I've got a feeling they have to try and build him up a bit now because they're running out of credible number one contenders down on SmackDown. They got Dean Ambrose, got John Cena. Why John Cena has a title shot, I don't know. Considering AJ beat him clean already, but after that's all said and done, I've got a feeling they're going to have to look to Randy Orton, so they have to start building him up.
Yeah. Chris M now emails in. I've got an idea for the next. Oh, sorry, I have an idea. He's obviously been listening to our podcast tonight on who should challenge Roman Reigns. You said there was no one credible enough. How about Braun Strowman? So it's a good call. But then again, is that going to destroy Braun Strowman in one stroke? On a pay-per-view? That'd be my. You've done all this building up. All of a sudden, he gets decimated by Roman Reigns. I mean, Braun Strowman, Matt. We see this a lot when guys have these squash matches. We saw it with Umaga and all that sort of stuff. But where does Braun Strowman, at the end of all this, where would his fixture be? Would it be in a main event spot, or would it be better at the US title level?
Well, I don't really think he needs to be near a title. I would play Braun Strowman like they did with Kane, a beast that comes in and is for destructional purposes, if you're not in with the authority, oh no, you're going to fight Braun Strowman, you better be scared.
Yeah.
Now that kind of thing, because Kane's not going to be around forever. I mean, Kane, he's living on borrowed time now. Well, not living, but his career is. He's on borrowed time now. He should be retired by now for all intents and purposes, He's done his bit and he had an amazing run. So everything we're getting out of Kane now is a bonus. But once he's gone, who is the next kind of monster that's going to be in there week in and week out? Because it isn't Brock.
Yes, I agree. Well, there's not a bad shout. I'm all for it, but I wouldn't like to see it anytime soon. Let's hope they at least build it towards one of the bigger pay-per-views to get their money's worth out of everything they've done with Braun Strowman. Because for me, I only want to see him win. That's the problem. But we'll have to see. We've got another Braun Strowman question, Matt. He's very popular tonight, obviously. This is from Cassidy02. All the way from Oklahoma. So thank you for your question there. First time of emailing in, guys. I hope this is a good question for your show. Yes, any questions are good for our show, aren't they, Matt? We get them all. Don't worry. Thank you for emailing in. He's got a question on Braun Strowman. Guys, is it me, or does Braun Strowman just not look tough enough? He looks like a baby with a beard stapled to his face. I also don't like his attire. His music is not bad, but still, there's something with the guy. I just don't believe him as a nasty villain, how I should be. I see him being eventually a babyface. Your thoughts? I don't know what to say to that, Matt, but yeah, does he look like a baby with a beard stapled to his face, Matt?
Well, to me, he looks like Sam from Game of Thrones, but incredibly bulked up.
That's a good call. That's a good shout. That one. That's an excellent. Example. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, his attire, Matt. Do we buy his attire? It's sort of the Wyatt family stuff, I guess. I mean, they could do better with it, I suppose. I would, but I don't know. I mean, is this? I mean, his hair. The style's changed. I mean, is there anything they could do for him in that sort of sense to make him better? But
he's a lot of I'd say he's about 70% gimmick. They tried to change the music. It tried to make it intimidating with the scream. They changed his haircut because they thought, well, maybe that would do you some good. I mean, there's no denying this guy is huge. But when you compare him to his other Wyatt counterpart like Luke Harper, I'm so much preferring Luke Harper because he's real. He's got the wrestling skills. He does look a bit dodgy. He looks a bit like you wouldn't
his eyes
with that.
I mean, they could have done better with Braun in that sense. But the thing I'm disappointed with Braun, and if I heard him on, I think it was Stone Cold's podcast. I don't know if you heard it, Matt, but that guy's voice is like a giant's voice, and I'm surprised they haven't capitalised on it. Because if you hear him speak, he would make you pretty scared then. Like, if he doesn't look it, by the time he spoke, he definitely would. He has that kind of big show kind of thing going on, where if he can pull out that giant kind of huge sort of vibration in his voice that makes him intense. So I think, babyface in the long term, you never know. It could work. I definitely throw it as an idea. I think you can only go so far being like that. I saw the same thing with Kane as well. So, babyface definitely in the long run, for sure. But thank you for your questions. Good nonetheless. Okay, got another one here. This is from DDS. What that stands for. It's a John Cena question, Matt. It's WrestleMania as well. What do you... What's that, mate?
I was almost expecting it to be from Isaac Yankum at DDS then.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you see WWE doing with Cena on the run into WrestleMania? Do you think it's time for Cena versus The Undertaker, or is there anything else he hasn't done that would be fresh? Also, are WWE seeing John Cena in the same light as they were as the biggest star in the company? So two questions in that sort of thing, Matt. WrestleMania next year, Matt. Fantasy-wise, what would you like to see John Cena involved with, I suppose? What is the best we can get out of him?
Oh, it's difficult. It's another one that we spoke of. I think last year we was begging for it to be Cena versus Taker, because we was like, oh man, we don't want to see Shane Taker. What is this? It was all it's such a shame that he was injured though, because that was the match that was missing. That could have been remembered for that Mania, but as far as that Mania goes now, it's quite forgettable.
Oh yeah.
I would say I would hope it would be Taker versus Cena, because they could market that very well, and there could be a lot of ways they could play that out. And I think Cena gets enough heat anyway. So if people thought that he could be another one that could get another win over Undertaker, I'm sure that would get a lot of people invested in that.
Yeah, I think for me, if the Undertaker said this is my last match, it would have to be John Cena. Have to be John Cena. There's nobody left, and also from the feelings I get from Undertaker, he respects John Cena an awful lot. Regardless of where John Cena is positioned in the company, he's still John Cena. So that would be it. But also, if they don't have the Undertaker available, I heard Ric Flair on his podcast say it a couple of weeks ago. He said he'd love John Cena to be the guy that takes his record over. And there's a story in that as well. There's a story going in to WrestleMania. Can he be the guy that beats that record? And that is a great story to tell. And I would love to see that at WrestleMania, given the right opponent. That would be a great thing to tell. So there are still things to do for John Cena. I mean, he's still John Cena. It's just what we got to remember. Make no mistake about it. No matter, even if he's putting over guys now like AJ and all the rest of it, and Kevin Owens in the past, and he's not been quite at the top. Listen, for the past couple of years, I think we've missed him at the top in a lot of ways. I never thought I'd say it. I thought we got too much of Cena at one time, but now I have a real respect for the guy, because he held it at the top for a long time, like almost a decade, non-stop at the top. Main events after main events after main events. So many variety of different guys. And now you look at it and you think, well, he was something on his own there, because there's not too many guys that can do that. So, I would like... Is there any other ideas for you, Matt, that spring out on paper if Undertaker wasn't available?
No, I think you've got it spot on there. I think if Undertaker was going to have his last match, then it would be Cena. If not, they could prolong that maybe and have it the year after. But I think, like you said, chasing that 16th title... That's a great story. They haven't had that really before. They've had Ric Flair, and time after time they mention Ric Flair as like the greatest champion, or he's held it the most times. John Cena's definitely put the work in to rival that. Yeah.
Let's that's definitely a great story to tell. Okay, let's take the last question in. Let's get a good one here, one we haven't had. This is from... Have a look. This is from Dean Sparks from Blackpool, of all places. There we go, down in Blackpool. one of our UK residents, and he's got a question on Raw tonight, Matt.